Sophia, she was leading the bracket with the ball.
Chair Gary Dello.
She knew that Houston would
Vice
win.
Chair
She won
Matt
the whole
Schuler.
bracket.
Here.
Debbie Dean
There you go, Vice.
is present. Here. Alder Kathy Hinkes. Here. Steven Cerubis.
Here.
Melanie Palmer is excused, I believe. And Renita Robinson. Here.
All right,
Welcome.
welcome. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Steve and Matt, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. We have minutes from March 11th.
Moved. Second.
Alder Hinkes and Steve, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. All right, regular order of business, number one. Consideration of possible action on development agreement 25-03 with One After Holdings LLC for the development of 100 East Mason Street and 0 South Adams Street, tax parcels 15-168A and 15-168-2. And that is Matthew.
Yes,
Please.
I'll take that. All right, so for those of you who served on RDA in 2019, you might recall passing a development agreement for a very similar project at this location, which is on the Fox River, on Adams Street, immediately south of the Mason Street Bridge. That 2019 development agreement was with Dean Miller with Miller Land Investments. You might recall it included 2 separate phases. Mr. Miller was able to complete phase 1, which was the trail improvements. We relocated the trail away from Adams of the river to really lay out a nice, clean development site, which was envisioned to be phase 2, the development of that site. That development agreement that was approved envisioned a 4-story, 100 market rate unit project. It was anticipated to create a value of $13 million, and we approved a TIF incentive of 8% PAYGO with a cap of $4 million. Unfortunately, Mr. Miller passed away before he was able to start on that second phase. The proposal before you today is substantially very similar. It's almost the same project. It's being proposed by Spark Development. They really are just taking what Mr. Miller has started and are running with it. There are some changes, but it's very similar, if not identical, as far as building footprints and architectural design. They are creating more units with this proposal. They are looking at 125 market rate units. We have anticipated value of $15.5 million. So about $2.5 million more in property value. And the developer was able to demonstrate in their TIF application that the project would not be able to proceed but for the city's contribution of TIF assistance. They showed approximately about a $4.5 million gap in their capital stack. So working with the city's finance director, we prepared a TIF cash flow projection which shows that we'd be able to close that funding gap with an 80% PAYGO TIF incentive. So it's largely the same exact incentive as we had prior. This would have a little bit of a higher cap at $4.5 million rather than $4 million. They showed a $4.5 million gap in their capital stack, and if we were to create a 27-year blight TID for this district, we would be able to cover that 4.5.
And Spark Development owns the property.
It is still, I believe, owned by Miller Investments. I believe they are in the process of acquiring that site.
All right.
The developer is on the call, Derek. Yep, I see Derek on the call, so he's available to answer any questions you have. I'm more than happy to answer any additional questions, but we are recommending approval.
Questions, comments?
Shame about the first effort. First development passing this tragic.
It would be nice to get the development
Oh my God.
on this
Yeah,
site.
that's
It would
right.
be absolutely beautiful. And if we ever moved coal houses, it would be better.
Absolutely. That'll happen.
When we move it.
And when, that's better when.
When, right?
And Matt,
Eric?
any knowledge of timeline to break ground as it currently stands?
I would have to defer to the developer. We do have a timeline in here that they would have to have the project completed and on the tax rolls by 1/1 of 28, I want to say.
Okay.
To double check that. It was 1/1 of 28.
It's up to the group, if you want to open up the meeting, hear from the developer. If not,
I don't need to, I'm
I don't,
supportive.
it was a good idea before, it's still a good idea.
Yeah, the economics haven't, in my opinion, materially changed, especially given the amount of time that's passed. And so the pay-go amount is at the same percentage. And this is, just to be sure, the piece of property here is only the property that's just to the south of the bridge. I know we did something in the last meeting, like we stapled two pieces together, and I know that's not the proper planning terminology, but it's just that one piece of land just to the south of the bridge and abutted by the sidewalk. That piece.
Yeah, right there.
Right here.
So you may recall the RDA actually owned a strip.
Yep.
Closest to the road.
Yes.
That we swapped.
Yep.
As part of that phase one deal.
And then-
The trail line.
And then what we're committing to is creating a TID on just that block of property for this project.
Yes, we would need to go to the joint review board to request the creation of a brand new TIF district to support this project. It does seem to qualify for a blank TID, especially if we were to include some additional parcels nearby, just to the north and east of that intersection there.
Okay.
That's Adams and Mason.
Beautiful piece of property. It's neat that, since we moved that trail, it makes it so nice.
And timing standpoint, how long will it take us to create that TID?
We would create it for this year, so probably this summer, maybe June.
Okay.
So we'd shoot to bring
Okay.
it back for creation, so it would be up and going by 1/1 of 25.
26.
It would be
This year,
established
this year.
for this year, yeah.
Okay.
And this was a solid project when we looked at it how many years ago. So,
Beautiful spot, beautiful location.
Absolutely.
Begging for development.
Absolutely.
I'd make a motion to approve.
I would second.
Motion by Alder Pincus and second by Matt. Questions or comments regarding the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please say with saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Full speed ahead, it's exciting. Number 2, consideration with possible action to approve the first amendment to Development Agreement 24-06 with Living Downtown LLC for the redevelopment of 425 Pine Street, tax parcel number -159, and the authority for the director and authority for the director to approve the collateral assignment subject to legal review. And that's Matt again, please.
Yes. All right, so back in November, just of last year, the RDA approved a development agreement with Living Downtown LLC for the rehab and reuse of the U.S. Bank building located at 425 Pine Street. Specifically, that scope included the conversion of floors 3 through 8, converting them from office to market rate apartments. Floors 1 and 2 were to remain office uses. The project was anticipated to increase the building's assessed value from, it was about 2.86 million to 9.6 million. The developer at the time identified a $4.1 million funding gap. To close the gap, RDA and the city approved an 85% pay-go TIF incentive. Since that time, the developer has actually expanded the scope of the project to include conversion of that second story from offices. They're going to create 11 additional new market rate units. Since that time, the developer is also working with their lender and just trying to get a handle on costs. Unfortunately, their funding gap has increased as well beyond just that second floor conversion. So they've come back to us to request this amendment to the development agreement to expand the scope. So they're also requesting an increase in the TIF cap. We're recommending we're going to maintain that 85% pay-go, but we are recommending to increase the funding cap from 4.1 million to 7 million. So if they were to generate additional property value, they would be eligible to utilize those extra dollars in incentive, in increment, I should say. Any questions I can answer on this? The developer is also here and can answer any questions. I just need to also state that as part of this deal, we're also probably going to be needing to approve a collateralization of the TIF incentive. So we would also request that the director to make that approval moving forward.
Can you explain that a little bit, Matt? I don't want to assume.
Me too.
Sure. So oftentimes developers, working with lenders, they need to demonstrate that they are receiving that TIF incentive, and they actually utilize the development agreement as collateral for their funds, for their loan. And so it's an extra step in the process. We have to approve that document as well. So we're just requesting that approval up front, rather than having to come back.
So it doesn't change how much we owe, who we owe it to, the circumstances of owing money, anything like that. It's essentially, it's the bank.
Yes.
As a financier.
Yep.
Even though we're already on public record saying we agree.
Correct.
Okay.
I just wanted it in writing. Thanks.
And when you talk about the 85% pay-go and the increase in the project, so if they add to the project, the pay-go just goes with that increment? It still stays at 85%?
Yes, still stays at
It's based at
85%.
okay.
Yep.
What question I had, please?
Still-
And maybe then it's a question for Diana. So since we approved the development agreement back in November, I think she's online. Good, oh, now she's even visible. So we've kept the pay-go percentage at 85%, but the value of the project's gone up. Has the timeline to payback extended, or is it still roughly about the same kind of payback in years? I think you're muted, Diana.
I can try to help answer that. It is just a pay-go, right? So
Yep.
there's no upfront assistance.
Yep.
We're not having a bond for this. And so we're not getting ourselves out of the hole. You know, the value of the project, of the property isn't increasing significantly from what it was projected to be when we had last approved this development agreement. The new 11 units aren't estimated to really create a lot more value, according to our city assessor. But, you know, from what it is today, yes, we are, I think we're going from, like I said, 2.86 million today to about 9.6 million assessed value. So if we were to give up more of our, or I shouldn't say, we're not giving up more of the pay-go, we're just increasing the cap.
The cap.
So they would be able to draw on that longer.
Yep.
As long as it reaches the cap.
If it reaches it. They would have to demonstrate they have qualified expenditures to get reimbursed for that.
Just have a question for Deanna or Matt there.
No, it's good enough.
Questions or comments?
So it's tracking up with the rest of the project, but there was gaps in the original math before it increased too, is that what you said?
Yeah, they had a funding gap before, which is why we were able to provide that TIF assistance then. They need to be able to demonstrate they meet that but-for test, but for this TIF assistance, they wouldn't, the project wouldn't proceed.
Yeah.
So we were able to close the funding gap before with the 85% pay-go. Today, we believe we'd still be able to close that gap with increased the $7 million cap. It's just a projection. Our city assessor provides us the anticipated property value. after construction. They're very conservative.
Right.
So based on the projections, we should be able to close the gap. They should be able to move the project forward. They've had conversations with their lender. They feel confident to move forward based on those projections.
Okay. Questions or comments, or if you want to open up to the developer, we can. I'm not sure it's necessary, but it's up to the group. Questions, comments?
I'm certainly ready to make the motion that we approve the First Amendment of Development Agreement 24-06 with Living Downtown LLC.
Second.
Okay, motion by Matt, second by Alderman Pincus. Questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Number 3, Rebecca. Consideration of possible action on development agreement 20-25-04 with Muskie?
Muskie.
Muskie, okay. For development project at 1116 Hobart Drive and 0 Hobart Drive, tax parcel 6H-1110-1, 6H-110, 11 extra 1 there, -19. Anyway, Rebecca, please.
Thank you. So the agenda item that's before us today is a proposed development agreement for multifamily development at, again, 1116 and 0 Hobart Drive. That's on the city's west side. Mosky Corp intends to develop a 30 market rate rental units on that site, which is currently undeveloped, 1.15 acres. You may recall this project as well. It was initially presented to the RDA in November as a term sheet that was approved at that point in time, detailed the preliminary terms and conditions of the agreement. Since that time, there have been some modifications to the site. The developer has reoriented the building from the northern side of the site to the southern side, and also at the request of city staff has made some enhancements to the facade on the street side facing Hobart. And that was essentially to meet zoning code requirements for building fronts that face the street right of way. So making some improvements to that entryway, and the street numbers will be on that portion of the building as well. The current aggregate assessed property value for both of those parcels together is $176,400. Upon completion of the project, the city assessor estimates an assessed value of $3 million. The developer is looking for TIP assistance for this project in the form of 80% PAYGO, and they're indicating a $450,000 funding gap in their development pro forma. Also, if you may recall, these two parcels are included in our TID 26 Southwest Woods, which was created last fall in 2024. One thing I wanted to point out about this pro forma that's a little bit different. So typically, we evaluate total development costs and then subtract out developer equity as well as lender financing to determine that gap for TIP assistance. In this case, we're following a slightly different approach. It's an approach that's been done before by the city. But again, since it's a little bit different, I'm just calling it to your attention because here the capital stack is actually covered between, again, that equity and the lending. But what we're looking for here is being able to secure lender and investor commitments, and that's in the form of specific cap rate and return on investment thresholds in order to secure those two components of the program. So we've reviewed this pro forma with Diana, the finance director, Matt, myself, and the developers, and we do agree that it meets that but-for test, but because, again, it has that slightly different approach, we are recommending approving with the contingency that we have the pro forma reviewed by Ellers, our financial consultant, just to, again, have their eyes on it and their positive recommendation.
You said we've used this approach before. Remember what project, or just out of curiosity, Matt? You know?
It's would have been probably during the Kevin Bonk era. It might have been Garrett might be able to speak better to this. Maybe 109 or
Sure.
901 Main.
Oh. Okay, oh, right, got it. Questions, comments?
More a comment, and I'm assuming it's a typo in the agenda item report. It says the city shall not be obligated to pay TIF incentive in excess of 4.5 million.
That's
And
my
I bet
fault.
it's-
Yes,
Yes,
I saw
I'm-
the same thing.
Because it's 450.
450,000, yes, I did make that mistake. Too many zeros down at the bottom, it is 450,000.
Even my math, it's a $3 million project, that's definitely not. It's
Right?
4.5 million.
Apologies for that, that's 100% my fault.
So when we do the motion, we should just be clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions, comments?
You said it was back through the city for zoning and some design critique, for lack of a better term. Are they satisfied with the changes?
Yes. Yes, the developer has met all of the concerns that had been expressed previously.
That's a really nice building to add to that west side where that's going.
And the developers are here in the room as well, if you have any questions for them.
Our real estate team had a number of suggestions in the facade on the face of it, having that orange to the street, is really to change the windows.
And this is, there has been a TID already created, and this is around that area that was being developed, and I don't get it, it's here, and it was, but it's about that creation of that street.
Yes, exactly. Last year.
I didn't realize that was already done, so that's great, okay. Simplifies that piece as well.
Okay. Questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion of sorts, any sort.
Move to approve the development at the 450,000, not at the 4.7.
That's right in the front page, I see you got it right in the front page, the back, take one back. Okay, there's a motion by Alder Lucas.
And I will second the motion from the alderperson from the west side, so intimately attached to development in this neighborhood.
It's nice to see it coming on the west side.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice, we got a lot of tractors out there.
Okay, there's a motion by Alder Lucas, second by Matt. Questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, thank you. Again, another exciting project.
Mhm.
Agenda item 4, consideration of possible action to approve a one-year development agreement with Greater Green Bay Habitat for Humanity to develop a two-story, single-family home on the site located at 1216 South Broadway. Rhonda?
So I'm going to handle those,
Oh, please.
these two.
We're gonna go boom, boom, boom here. Habitat for Humanity.
Well, you might, we've been working with them for a while, and we've extended these options for us. We're going to work out these sales for new houses in these Broadway areas. This first one is a two-story, our design actually. So they're just really basing on the purchase.
Thank you all, thank you.
Thank you.
They're asking for us to purchase land so that we can just like 20 years ago.
In each one, you look design and take it?
Yep.
Yep. Which one do you want?
Yep, we wanted them to mix the design up, make sure there was height on a number of the buildings, so.
Questions, comments?
I would make a motion to approve this.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Alder Lucas. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Number 5, we're going to be on a little roll here. Consideration of possible action to approve a one-year development agreement with Greater Green Bay Habitat for Humanity to develop a two-story, single-family home on the site located at 1319 South Broadway.
Just further down the block, a different site, another two-story build that they're looking at.
Which way is this going? Is this on what,
It'd be
which side of
south-
West Main?
South of Mason.
South.
So that's 10th Street on the south side of it.
Okay.
Right by Main Street.
It's a real mix down there.
I know, that's why I was asking, I was curious.
Well, and I'll put this on the record, and they're really close to Cheesesteak Rebellion.
Yes.
Which is a shockingly good restaurant.
I've never been there.
It's fantastic.
It's not that good. I was in Philadelphia recently, and it's not far from the truth, really.
It's really good, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. I'll just leave it at that. You can't describe
My
this
husband
place,
is there.
but it's really good.
I would make a motion to approve this one.
I'll second.
A motion by Steve, second by Matt. Questions or comments on the motion? If not, all in favor, motion, proceed with saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 6, consideration of possible action to approve a one-year development agreement with Greater Green Bay Habitat for Humanity to develop a 1.5-story single-family home on the site located at 1321 South Broadway.
Yep. Same neighborhood. This house I actually think is going to be, this is our standard one-story. I think the requirement is a story and a half built on this site. But again, just another habitat.
What makes something 1.5
I think
stories?
you've got that, probably that bedroom's, maybe a bedroom or a loft space on the side.
Oh,
And the
oh,
pitch
yeah.
of the roof, the pitch of the roof that changes that.
So you don't get the full
Right. it's
square
like-
footage on it.
Right.
So is this 4-bedroom? It says 2.
This is 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. The one before was a 6-bedroom.
Yeah,
So I think they're going to do some of that.
2.4 bedrooms, which
Yeah.
is my favorite kind.
Right.
No, I read that too.
Yeah.
It's just 2.4 is the number. Anyway, yes, this will be a smaller unit, so.
It's my understanding that this picture here on the right isn't totally accurate. The plan is to have the pitch of the roof steeper, so it will appear as a 1.5 story. They just didn't have a picture of it yet.
Good.
Steve, what is the pitch on that roof right now?
I can't spot them.
That's 13.9.
I feel like going from what is 1.5 stories to Steve, what is the pitch on that roof? He's very aggressive in his questions.
And all 3 of these, so are they done within the next year?
It's a one-year development agreement, so, yeah,
Wow.
they're really working hard on the development site on the east side, right? So
Yes.
once they're done with that, they want to keep moving, so.
Excellent.
I'll take a hat trick on the Habitat for Humanity and make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Steve.
And I will second and just comment, right, that, hey, that's a neighborhood, there's some really interesting stuff going
There is
on
some
between
interesting stuff.
Shipyard, but coal piles, which will move,
Yeah.
Green Bay Drive Forge, right, there's some really good stuff.
Right.
A lot of exciting things going on in the city. Absolutely, guys.
Seems like there's some momentum.
Well, 20 years ago, we were thinking it was straight industry, and we took the change because there's so many people living in the neighborhood that couldn't refinance their homes. So we changed the zoning, we added that, that's why it's a residential, kind of top of industrial. But you're right, it's made a transition, over the last 20 years in a lot of good ways.
Excuse my geography, is this officially tank? Or is this not tank yet?
Might be shipyard. I think it's
shipyard. I think it's shipyard.
It's further south, so.
So we have a motion by Steve, second by Matt. Questions or comments regarding the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, excellent. Number 7, consideration of possible action to approve a one-year development agreement with Ortega Properties LLC for the building of a 2-family upper and lower duplex on the site located at 1112 North Van Buren Street.
Yeah, this is another site we have, the gentleman from Ortega Properties would like to do, this would be duplex, basically, and Ron had told me that potentially he was gonna live in the lower and his dad was gonna live in the upper, so it's gonna be family owned. So purchased the lot for $17,500 and construct it.
Oh,
And this is a picture?
yeah, this is
Yes.
the finished product?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh. Again, it's just a one-year agreement, huh?
I'm just surprised that meets your standards.
It's got a front porch and windows in the front.
That's just an example of work that this guy has
Yeah.
done.
Questions or comments in regard to this development agreement?
And then our next item must be like right next to this.
Close by.
Yes.
But they're different developers,
Yes.
unrelated in that regard, but same neighborhood. Okay.
Yes.
God, this is kind of quite a bit north, so, okay.
Any other questions or comments in regard to the development agreement?
I'd make the motion to approve the one-year development agreement with Ortega Properties for the purchase of an upper and lower, purpose of an upper and lower duplex on the site located at 1112 North Van Buren Street.
And I will second that.
A motion by Nat, second by Alderperson Hinkle.
See, Eric, he still has a problem with it.
Questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
Refer to the mayor as Eric.
I did it again.
It's just shocking.
Just all the
I know.
It's funny, I forgot what your name was for a while.
Mr. Mayor.
He does have one.
They do.
And I get knocked for it every
No, I
Yes,
just think
every
it's startling almost.
And I should say it again when I was trying to be nice.
Just start trying different ones and see how that works. You'll tell us.
No, it's gonna be all reversed.
Okay. And number 8, consideration of possible action to approve a 30-day planning option extension to Deals Development and Partnership Capital, the construction of 5 townhouses on the site located at 1118 North Van Buren, 1124 North Van Buren, and 910 River Street. And that's Cheryl?
So, yep, so Deals Development Partnership has actually done a property with us prior on Baird Street, a small house, like, close to Washington. It was a small corner lot that we had, they built a home there. We've had some experience with them. They actually got their development, or a 3-month planning option from us in January of this year, and then have requested, actually, I believe they want a 6-month extension to this planning option. We have, so we're looking at the lot, we've been getting calls on lots, including this lot as well.
Yes.
I think we'd be willing to work with them, to give them another 30 days to try to put this deal together, to come back. We would not want to go 6 months,
No.
because we'd like to do it right, to get this something in the ground potentially
Absolutely.
this year.
Absolutely.
I do believe that the developer is here. I don't know if you'd like to speak to the developer or not, but the developer is here. But our recommendation is to extend for 30 days on this one.
Should we listen to the developer here outside this firm?
Yeah, I don't know where the developers, if they
Is he okay
requested
with 30?
6 months, and
Yeah.
you're saying 30, I don't know where their heads are, but
Okay, absolutely. Motion to open the meeting? Steve?
second?
Matt? All in favor of opening the meeting, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. All right.
Is it Ken?
And developers, Deals Development and Partnership Capital. Are you there? Yep.
Yes, this is Ken.
So, tell us why you feel you need 6 months.
We were just kind of just asking for that to make sure we can kind of move forward once the planning option was done into the building phase. We had everything going, but last minute, the architect that we chose had backed out of the project.
Okay. Can you get everything resolved in 30 days?
We should be able, I'm hoping to get the plan done in 30 days. I don't know if I could push the new architect that we just signed a contract with to get it done that fast, but we can definitely try to.
Okay. But Cheryl said there's a lot of demand for properties, and so we don't want, definitely don't want to extend it 6 months. I mean, there's no question that we're not going to do that.
Right, would you guys be open to a 60-day extension to make sure we can get the plan done and kind of give those guys some time to get it done?
Cheryl said we can live with that. Okay. I don't think we have any other questions. If not, let's get back to regular order of business, please.
So moved.
Steve and Alderperson Holder. Hinkles. Did I get better? Holder? What is that better?
Older.
Older? Older.
You weren't picking on me today.
All those in favor, we'll go back to regular order of business, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So we're back to regular order of business.
60 days, that's right.
I'd make a motion that we approve a 60-day planning option to Deals Development and Partnership Capital for construction of 5 townhomes on the sites located at 1118 North Van Buren, 1124 North Van Buren, and 910 Reaver Street.
Motion by Matt, second by Steve Hannan. Any questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Good luck. Number 9, consideration with possible action to hire outside counsel to pursue litigation against Bay Area Burger Company, LLC, 126 South Broadway, Greenville, Wisconsin, for default on a loan agreement. Stephanie?
So, yes, we have been trying to work with this gentleman Cole for over 12 months. We had some hang-ups and then we get information, but really the problem is coming down with the lack of communication with us. We would be willing to work with him, but we just are not getting communication, so we have worked with the law department to send out certified letters and trying to get communication reestablished. That did not work either, so the law department did give us the green light to proceed further, which they were unable to handle since they are short-staffed, so we're looking for outside legal representation. If it comes to that, we did receive a email. How much will result from that, we don't know, but if it comes to that we do not have a resolution with this last email, we would need to seek outside help to collect these funds.
No idea what outside counsel with cost? No.
It depends how soon we can resolve the matter. I mean, I would hope that we could do it for less than $1,000.
Oh.
One of the primary purposes of outside counsel is hopefully to spark more movement as our letters have gone unanswered.
Yeah.
So it could be more than that if we, if we have to pursue a default, but usually if there's a willingness to pay, we would pursue a default judgment and it wouldn't be a long drawn out process.
Okay.
And we'd be willing to work on like a prepayment deal. We're willing to come to the table on options because, we want to keep the business going. And,
Absolutely.
And we just like the ability to move forward.
Do we know if the business is open and functioning? Every time I drive by, I don't see it open anymore, and I always complain.
So from what I understand is that they had some staffing issues and that was one of the reasons why they closed during the week more. They were open just on weekends.
Okay.
But he is still running his food truck to my understanding.
Okay.
So, and that's why we had been trying to communicate with him, trying to find out if there was other options. We did put him in touch with, I think the Broadway district is the one that he's in, to see if there were any options through them with grants or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we never heard back really from Cole, so really if he would have worked with us and contacted us, we would never have gotten to this. We would have worked something out.
And Cheryl, these funds are coming out of a revolving loan fund?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Maggie, what's the-
Community development.
Oh, yeah,
Revolving.
probably. How long ago did we approve this? It's got to be 4 or 5 years.
The
Right
original
around
date
COVID.
was July 7th of '22.
Okay.
So, and it was a $35,000 working capital loan, so we don't really have
Yep.
like equity that we can go after
Yeah.
for.
No, and I remember, right, they've been running a very successful food truck business, and then we're wanting to establish a, a brick and mortar footprint, and we were certainly supportive, and it seemed like a great neighborhood.
The burgers are good.
So, yeah, I'd certainly
They are.
make the motion to approve hiring outside counsel to pursue litigation against Bay Area Burger Company for the outstanding balance on their loan.
Do we want to put a max amount on that to come back? I mean, for
I think they got
dollar
it.
perspective.
I think if we have to negotiate anything outside of what's already full, it would come back to the RDA for approval of that.
Okay.
We'd have to
All right.
get approval to do anything else then.
Okay. Does Steve say second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Oh, go ahead, please. You
I
have a
think
comment?
that motion,
Yeah, but-
second.
I made the motion.
You
Second.
You second.
Okay. Motion by Matt, second by Steve. Any questions or comments in regard to the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. I looked through the check register, had a couple questions. Stephanie answered them. Anybody else have questions or comments in regard to the check register?
It was pretty short.
Yeah. Director's report and updates.
Introduce Jason Flack,
Jason.
who is our block grant, a new block grant specialist that replaced Krista.
Excellent.
It's a little deceiving because Jason's been working with us under contract for 10 years.
Oh,
Doing historic preservation work for us, so
Great.
he knows everybody, which is easy, so.
Welcome.
We just give him
Welcome.
a real office this time, and
Welcome.
so
Excellent.
I'll be handing it out and stuff. We've got a couple of big items at council coming up on the 15th. We've got our rezoning of George Pacific lot, coming back to council again, and then the Mossman development and Red Smith neighborhood will be coming back as well. Those were three developments, three spaces. So you've got the.
Yep, got the report.
You've got the report in front of you. You know, new land continues to proceed quickly,
They're
which
over,
is great.
over 2 stories now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable how
everybody's
fast
impressed.
that's going.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then they're also working on Pine Street as well. They're really moving on the Pine Street project. One is US Bank.
Yes.
Okay. Not like saying things going on. Anybody got any questions in regard to the report? If you do, after you look at detail, call Sharon or Matt.
It's a little draft thing coming up, a little event.
Yes, 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 you've
coming
been
up
busy.
in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Jeff,
I think it's
please.
going well though.
Jeff, please give us an update.
Just one notable development to add to to complement what's happening downtown was written by Mr. Bollier in Sunday's newspaper was the acquisition of the Chase Bank properties.
Oh my God.
And, that's really an outstanding opportunity to eventually redevelop that block and, bring some retail to the vicinity. I'm very pleased that Daniel Whitman has acquired it, working with US Bank. That property's been on the market for a long time. It was a matter of finding the right buyer and the right plan for Chase Bank to either find another location or stay. Outstanding that they're going to stay and downsize. They should be under construction soon. It's not a development that's going to happen immediately. They're going to take their time. But the haberdasher will also take residency there at some point in time at a later date. And a lot of opportunity to develop that site. So I just wanted to shout out to Mr. Wickman for his confidence in downtown and has wonderful plans, and we plan to work closely with them.
I think that new land development project is stimulating a lot of this, which is great, especially seeing it going up so quickly.
It's a good point. It sends a high degree of confidence in development in the downtown. The Wisconsin Public Service site is one that, just for the first time in a while, took a walk this weekend along the perimeter of that property. And now that it has been reduced to a pile of rubble, and we soon will see a 15-acre parcel available for development, but it's very impressive. And with almost a half a mile of dock wall, it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
A half a mile of dock wall?
2,000 feet of dock wall, improved dock wall. That is an impressive site.
East River on one side, Fox River on the other side. Beautiful, prime site. Anything else, Jeff? Is Leah on board?
No.
Nope. Okay, Brooke? Nope, okay. Any other questions for Mr. Mayor or staff of the committee? If not, our next meeting is May 13th. I'll make a motion to adjourn. All the seconds? Second by Matt, all those in favor, saying aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Excellent meeting. Oh, a lot of exciting things going on. Oh my God, that's great.
Love to see all the.
You like to
Recording done.